Hi, my name is David Hatch, and I'm going to show just a little excerpt here in the Filipino martial arts on blocking. There's many ways of handling inertia from sticks and stuff, but we're just going to look at a stick block. Now, what we're looking at is the science involved, the physical attributes and stuff that happen when you use a block, and why use a block. And how would we handle that block? Different ways of doing a block. So my wife, Linda, and I will demonstrate some of this stuff, and hopefully it's not too technical for you, but it's at least good to know some background and understanding of what's happening when you do a block. So now we're going to look at the inertia effect to get a little understanding of the science. I've had some engineering background, and I find it interesting to look at this part of the martial arts. So it's interesting because some people say, well, you know, I just want to pick from the fruits of the tree, but I don't want to study the roots of the tree. And it's good to understand both, because that will help you become more of an enhanced martial artist. So inertia. What is inertia? Inertia is explained as, well, a body at rest, like the mass, okay, or the weight of the object. A body at rest has a tendency to stay at rest unless it's acted upon by an external force. It also means that when a body is in motion, okay, it will continue to be in motion until an external force acts upon it otherwise. Understanding this, we're going to talk about what happens here at a point of impact from the inertia. And this example I have here is this vehicle moving. And understanding too what happens with inertia when you hit a wall. When I hit it and push it, it's pushing back because it's well supported. If this was a cardboard wall or paper wall, I'd go right through it because there isn't enough support. So understanding this, now we go back to talking about stick blocking. So here's this vehicle that's going along maybe 30, 40 miles an hour. It's moving. Inside the vehicle is you, of course, and a helium balloon, which is lighter than air. So everything has molecular structure to it. So it has some weight, even the air molecules. When this vehicle hits the wall at impact, what happens here? Everything surges forward, right? Your body goes forward, anything inside will go forward, including the air molecules will also rush forward. And the proof of this is the helium balloon is going to go backwards. It will not go forward, it goes to the rear, because all the molecules move forward and push the helium balloon back. So the same thing could happen when you accelerate. Let's say you stand still and you accelerate, everything goes back. The helium balloon is going to go forward. So it's just an understanding of molecular structure and how it is involved in the inertia. What happens when you smash into something, when you make an impact, what happens? This energy at impact, it's going to cause a pause. Once you make that impact, there's a slight pause. So we're going to use that to explain when we do blocking where this pause comes into play. Okay, now let's look at the different ways you can handle this inertia, the momentum coming at you. First of all, let's look at the stick. When the stick's coming at you and swinging at you, it starts at a 0% and reaches all the way up to 100% at that point of impact. So if it continues through, it will drop back down to 0 again. Also keep in mind, at the tip of the stick, it's going to be a higher velocity, a greater impact. Where at the bottom of the stick, towards your hand, it's going to be much lower velocity. So again, keep all this in mind when we're talking about how to handle the inertia. So the first thing we're going to do is let's look at avoiding it. Get out of range, don't let it hit you. Okay? Evade it, slip it, pass it, any of those things to avoid getting hit. Very simple. Next, intercept it. And you heard a lot about this in Jeet Kune Do, meaning the way of intercepting the fist. But here we're intercepting the stick. Same idea, right? But ideally you want to do it before the momentum builds up with the stick. Because if not, it's going to be a lot hard to intercept. All right. Next is to cover. I'd cover like this. Okay, cover with the stick, cover with the stick. You need a backup support when you do that. Otherwise, if the stick itself sometimes is not strong enough and you're just sitting there, the impact will go straight through. You need some type of support. Remember we talked about pushing the wall. The wall pushes back because it's greatly supported. If it's just a paper wall, there's no support. So you need a support when you do a cover. Next is to absorb it. You can absorb it using padding. You can have pads. You can step inside the circle of power and then absorb some of that impact. That way it's not as powerful or damaging to you. Now, you could cover and absorb by covering and moving with your body. So it entails some footwork to do that. All right, the next part we talk about is redirecting it. That force coming at you, I want to redirect it. So I'm going to either deflect it or I'm going to guide it out of the way. And again, all of these, by the way, can and do entail footwork to help you avoid getting into that high pressure zone. So after redirecting, we can talk about meeting the stick, meeting that force when it comes at you. When I meet it, that means what? Impact. There's got to be some impact. There's got to be force going in. Remember we talked about the inertia. A body in motion has a tendency to stay in motion until it's acted upon by an external force. So we're looking at external force for meeting it, to block it. And we'll get more detail on this as we go on. So now we're going to look at the power of the force and how we handle it besides blocking. So if this strike is starting to come at me, and we're talking about a blow, by the way, that is a committed hit, not one that's a watik or an abanico watik. We're talking about a committed hit. So when a committed hit comes in, I could jam it before it even starts, which would be like an intercept. That's jamming it here at the hand here. If it's coming, I could use my forearm to jam, and some people do that. They'll just come in, use the forearm, and jam in here, intercepting. Another method of intercepting. If you try to intercept without any stop, you have a problem, because when this starts moving and I try to go like that, this is still going to be coming. Remember we said the inertia? It's not going to stop unless there's an external force on it. So you're going to have to do an intercept here. Another way to intercept too is when they start to throw, you stop it right by above the hand, right up here. Because remember we talked about the power is greater up here than it is here, the force of impact. So this would be a good stop here. Another way we can handle this is when it comes, you just avoid it. Just slip it out of the way, move out of the way. I can slip and hit would be ideal. I could slip and hit like here to the high, or I can slip here and just thrust them at the same time. Yeah, I can slip and hit the other hand, here like that. Notice when I'm slipping, I need some footwork. I need to move my body. You can't just stand there. There's another way of avoiding it by using the stick, and I just go with the force like that, so you can come back. Or another way is to just come over like that and hit it this way. Other arts have this, like Lameco and the Robio's another one. They rely on this side here and just follow in the shot here and then follow up whatever shot you want from there. And then Lameco would probably go like this, slip and pop, pop, and hit, whatever you want to do afterwards. Okay, the other way you can do this, I slip and hit, but I use it as a gunting, but I still got to get out of the way and hit. So I have to slip my hand out of the way, smash that hand as it comes through. I'd have to get out of the way, out of the range. So when it comes, I just get out of the range and hit like that. We've got something else that's called a switch hit. It's a little more deflecting, but as it comes in, I switch and hit it like this. So there's three ways we actually do this switch hit. There's a slight delay here. I come up and hit the face that way. Another way is I assist with my left hand, put it over like that, smash, go into stripping. The other here is I just go without the assist of the left hand. And I come over and I could strip. So there's another method, a little more deflecting when you use it. Another is to absorb it and get out of there, is when she strikes, I'm going to come with the force and go around with it like that. So I'm going with the force and avoiding getting hit altogether. So these are some of the methods we have to avoid that power stroke. And later we're going to go in more deeper into the cover and meeting the force, which we want to get the physics involved. Okay, so now we're going to go over blocks. Blocks that'll actually stop the dynamic inertia of a strike. So keep in mind though, we're looking at two different strikes that are power strokes. One's going to actually go right through the body, or past the body actually. It'll hit, it'll go through. The other goes in and it actually makes contact and it gets absorbed into the body. A person may have a heavier stick, so that's a greater amount of inertia. There's more mass here. Molecular structure is stronger. And the first block we're going to talk about is a cover block. Now a cover block, by that I mean I just place the stick there as a cover. This is a cover, this is what we call a roof block. Now if she hits me with a power, see, that can collapse. So on that type of block, you're going to have to move out or have some type of support. This is not the most strongest block ever. That's why they usually move with the footwork on this. With any cover block is you need support. You need some type of backup support. A high wing like this is a real good one because I have my arm to support, so when she hits, I'm taking a blow like this. All right? So that's the key thing about cover blocks. You can cover with the stick vertical. You just put the here, and then what happens is you take the blow. So you got to really be careful, make sure you angle right when you take this blow. Again, a cover block is I'm just placing the stick there. I can make these impact blocks by, when she throws, I move in with the block to make it more of an impact block. But again, you still need that support because your stick can collapse down. So even if I'm here, I come in like that. I can cover with just two hands. She throws a strike, I can just cover like that. You got to think of a cover block, you're going to take the blow. You're going to take the inertia. It's like the cue ball when you're playing pool. When the cue ball moves and it hits the next ball, the cue ball stops and the other ball's flying away. So what happens here, she would be the cue ball, and when she hits me, I'm the one that's going to cause the pause on this impact because I did not use an external force on her inertia. So I'm the one that's going to get the blow. So now we look at a deflecting block. A deflecting block means when it comes, blow comes in, I'm deflecting it like this. Now, actuality, we practice on the stick. In reality, we know we're hitting the hand. Now remember, there's momentum coming here. So if I hit this hand and it releases the stick's still going to be coming at me. So the deflection has to not only hit the hand, but it's got to also deflect that from coming to me. All right? This will deaden the flow of the blow a little bit, but this here will make sure the stick doesn't hit me. So that's one way of deflecting. And some people call these sweeps or deflections, either one. Now the next one we could do is like a rifle. I can deflect it. If she comes here, I can deflect it like this and hit down. Or I deflect it on the outside when she throws. I deflect, I'm just starting to mumble one. So I deflect it this way and hit down. Or I can scoop it up like this and then let loose. Also on the deflecting is good because it can help you continue your motion. So if I'm here and I deflect like this, come up, hit, whatever I want to do afterwards. Or I deflect this way and come up like that, like I hit here, and shoot across and hit the hand. Or I can come in and deflect like this, come back down, right? After I come down, see, I can come over, hip, strip, whatever I want to do from there. Many different ways you can use a deflect. Deflection helps you to flow. So I want that additional flow to keep moving as I'm coming along. Also on deflection, you need some support with the other hand because deflection just deflects it, but remember the momentum's still coming. So I'm either going to stop it with my hand or maybe stop the stick over here at the low end because we talked about there's less pressure down here, or some people will go here and come in with their arms so they can go into snaking. Right? So the deflection helps to get rid of that inertia and to counterattack swiftly. So also on deflection, I can go here, my hand comes here, and I push that hand away so I can continue the flow. So now we're going to look at impact blocking, an impact block. The impact blocks we can look at in three basic categories. First one would be a striking block. So if she's throwing a one, see how I strike that to stop it. So I'm using any part of the stick to stop this blow. Notice again I had hand support. And I'm moving towards them. I'm creating a force, generating a force against force in this case. It can be this angle, that angle down below, doesn't matter. The idea is I'm using a striking motion to hit this. Then there's a push block. A push block is more where they just come in and push out like that. That's going to need some support. Some people will push with 2 hands, which is fine. There's your support. Again, you're stopping, but you're also extending. Same when I do here, I'm sort of extending, right? And I've got to need this. I need this hand to stop that stick from coming in. So that's your push block. Your push block can also be 2 hands. I could do 2 hands and push out like that. But from here, I've got to continue and let go one end and continue my attack. Or maybe I'll push block like that so I can come in and thrust and choke or whatever I want to do afterwards. An additional point I want to make on the push block, some people will use the push block as they tilt their stick a little bit. So when they tilt and the blow comes in, it straightens the stick up. So now they've got a full block. That's another method of doing it, like that. So when she strikes, I go like that, and it straightens the stick right up. But we look at a hammer block. A hammer block is something that we actually got from the founder, Anshan Bakan, of the Balintawak system, and his top student, actually, Ted Blewett. He taught me this block. And this block, I call it hammer. It looks like a hammer when I do it. It's not pushing outward. It has the elbow support here and up at your shoulder and whole arm. At the point of impact, everything tightens up. So it has all that support. The left hand serves as a backup in case this is a real strong hit to come through. So my hammer blow goes here. I do not reach out. If I do a push block, and she, let's say, fakes it, comes to the other side, push block comes, I've got to come across really fast. And that's okay if you got good timing and real quick moves. But the timing on this here is very good because on the hammer block, I'm right here. And if she fakes it now, let's say she fakes the one, comes this side, she fakes the one, goes, I'm here. It's really quick. I'm using what they call a little C motion like that to make that hammer type motion. Again, I get the impact, it's tightened, and then I relax and move. In addition, what we have in the Balintawak system is what they call a lean, but it's not a lean back upper body like this, it's my leaning of the footwork back like this. It's very difficult for her to come out and reach my stick. She's got a long way to go. And I'd have her stick with ease. So you got to understand, these impact blocks are the external force that we're talking about to stop that inertia that's coming in towards you. Now, also, with a push block, some people go out with that, capture, and pull it in, which we've called clipping, because you're clipping it in. But look you have to go out to get it and pull it back in. It's not wrong, but you have to go out and back in. I have it come to me. I touch it here, and I've got it. I don't have to go out and pull back in. So we're using what's called like a baseball approach. If you're out and you've got your glove, and the ball is coming towards you, not out here, but at you, the best bet for baseball is to let the ball come to you. Comes into your glove, then you switch hands and throw. In this case, we're using the stick as sort of the glove. I let them come to me. Now my left hand can take over. Understanding an external force that we're generating to stop this stick from coming in. So remember, when you're doing impact blocking, the strike that's coming towards you has no support up here. My block, or any of these impact blocks, will have support. Either the support's here or the support's here, which means this stick is going to bounce back. It may not bounce all the way back, because remember, they're coming in with a very hard blow. So I want that. It's going to cause them to stop and freeze. Remember I said there's a momentary pause at the point of impact. So that pause is going to be mostly them pausing so I can go into my counterattacks. Another thing too, we talked about the person who may throw a real hard blow, but they're striking all the way through like that. In that case, doesn't matter whether I'm using a push block or whether I'm using this block, hammer block, or even a deflection. If they're going through, you let it through. The idea when you let it through is you follow up. There's different ways of following up. We're mainly talking about the one that's going to concentrate to your head and it wants to knock you out right there. So I need to stop that. that's why we're talking about the impact blows. So keep in mind, when they're striking, you are what? You're deadening their blow. Another key point about hammer blocking is the timing. If I, don't move yet, if I go here and I stop before the stick hits, and pop, it's going to come right in my face. You have to time it so that you meet the stick. So when it comes, I meet the stick. Or actually, a stick is going to meet me because I'm having it come to me. So regardless of what blocking there is involved, it's up to you as an individual. Not one system is better than all. A lot depends on the situation you're in. Is my stick down? Is my stick up? Whatever, the timing involved. So you may not like blocking. Maybe you like evading and so forth. And that's fine. You pick what works best for you. And you can mix. There's nothing wrong with mixing. I'm just trying to show different methods of the block and the physics involved when you hit and block somebody and how it helps you for counterattacking.